Welcome back to Black Woman Evolved. Today, we are going to be discussing the deep dive I just recently took on Oprah and why isn't Oprah a household name when it comes to Black women. And I have my own opinions on why that is possibly like that. And y'all know me, y'all know I like to talk and get, straight to it and be blunt and be honest about my opinions on things. And my opinion on the reason that Oprah isn't a household name for Black women is because Black women are just now getting to a place where they're allowed to have free range and free thought. The evolution of Black women right now is so amazing to watch unfold. And I just think I just believe there's Black women out there who's just been waiting on this. They've been waiting for the other Black women to catch on and to catch up and to evolve. And I think Oprah is one of them. I noticed Oprah when I was a little girl. In Philadelphia, I used to go downstairs, make my breakfast, and sit and watch TV. We didn't have no cable, so it was antenna. And Oprah show would come on, Maury would come on, Ricky Lake would come on, Zoom would come on, and I would watch these shows. And Oprah caught my attention as a little girl. I've always been a free thinking woman. And my definition of free thinking, meaning I had my own thoughts outside of the structure of society. In my life, I didn't really have a lot of social norms like taught to me besides watching how the women operate in life, watching how my grandmother, my mother, and watched how them operate. Other than that, no one like taught me social norms, even though I've seen people acting them out around me. And one of them is very male centered. I feel like the women in my family were very male centered. Like it was like their lives seemed to be based on what position they played with men. Like you were going to be a wife, or you was going to be a mother, or you need to attract a man. It was like, it seems like constantly man at the center of everything. It's man. And what I notice a lot with Black women is either it's the Black church or it's man. And I think, this is my opinion, outside of conspiracy theories about Oprah, and I'm a conspiracy theory. We can get into conspiracies. I'm not an anti-conspiracy theory person, but I'm just saying, outside of conspiracy theories, Oprah should be number one on the list of every Black woman entrepreneur inspiration to me. She's on mine. She's one of my biggest mentors, one of my biggest inspirations. Barbara Walters was hers, and she is mine. And I just think Black women can't appreciate her because we're just now coming to a place where we realize we are allowed to be independent, free-thinking people outside of the Black church and outside of Black men.
Have there been times when you thought the career came first? We're not married, so it's a little different.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this career is extremely important to you, and that for a long time I felt like it was first in your life, and knew it was first in your life. Mm-hmm. I know that that's changing. I know that there's a process that you have to go through personally, mm-hmm. to get to the point where you realize that the Oprah Winfrey Show was not the most important thing in your life.
Right.
And so
what is, honey, do you think?
And I also realized that you're the star, and that, you know, this is your life and this is what you do, and I support you in that.
I thank you for that.
And I think that's the most important.
Oprah's been there long before us. I know the background on Oprah's upbringing. We have so many similarities. And Oprah was an accident. Oprah wasn't supposed to be Oprah, but she was supposed to be Oprah. Universally, by universal laws, Oprah was supposed to be Oprah. By society, she was not supposed to be who she is. They thought Oprah was going to fail. Oprah was not supposed to be who she was. I still be just excited, just reminiscing and thinking about the life of Oprah. So let me just get on topic. Oprah was not supposed to be who she is. By social norms, she was not supposed to be who she is. By universal laws, yes, of course. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. Oprah was considered ugly. These are social norms. She was considered ugly. She was considered undesired, unwanted, dark skinned, unattractive, and just, back then being black, dumb. Just no one's going to pay attention to you. No one's going to care. We're just going to give you something to do, to have some type of diversity. Oprah was probably DEI before DEI was DEI. When they gave Oprah that show, they did not expect her. When they gave Oprah that daytime show, they did not expect her to do what she did. And I believe that white women were drawn to Oprah because white women are drawn to black women's strength, period. But I believe that white women was more so drawn to Oprah because Oprah was speaking in a way that they were speaking then. White women have always tried to find their identity outside of their men. They're trying to, whatever white women have with the fight with patriarchy, they've always been trying to find their position outside of their men. And to me, black women have always stayed in the shadows of their men. They've stayed behind their men. They haven't, black women, when I was growing up, wasn't trying to find their identity outside their men. They was always trying to be in the shadows with their men or just always trying to include their men somehow, some way. And I understand why we did that back then. I understand it. But I'm just saying the reason why white women was so attracted to Oprah was because of her strength and her boldness and her ability to find her own way outside of church and men. Oprah was a very bold black woman, very confident appearing. Even when she claims that she wasn't confident, Oprah loved conversation. Oprah questioned things that black women were not willing to question back then.
Make us believing that there is only one way to live. That's and right. That we don't accept that there are diverse ways of being in the world, that there are millions of ways to be a
then
human
how do
being.
You please God?
And many ways, no, but many paths to what you call God.
That
and her
pleasing.
path might be something else, and when she gets there, she might call it the light. But her loving and her kindness and her generosity brings her, if it brings her to the same point that it brings you, it doesn't matter whether she called it God along the way or not.
And I guess it sounds great on the onset, but if you really look at both sides,
there couldn't possibly be just one way. What about Jesus? What about Jesus?
I mix them up in this whole discussion, and you say there isn't only one way.
Oprah challenged things that black women were afraid to challenge then. So when people tried to hold Oprah's audience against her, I hate that. She didn't choose that audience. Oprah wanted to speak to black people and speak to black women specifically. Always have been. But black women couldn't listen because you can't see beyond black men in the black church. Oprah has always been about spirituality. Understanding that there's more to life and more to you outside of religion, but she always respected religion. Oprah has never disrespected the black church. Actually, she comes from a church background. So she's always respected the black church, but she wanted black women to understand spirituality. A place that we are now. Black women have always been into spirituality. I'm not saying that they're not, but I'm just saying that the amount of us that's coming to this awakening, this evolution, is great. But Oprah has always been there and always been trying to teach us. I hate when people say that Oprah sells out. I took a crazy deep dive. You guys know that, well, you probably don't know that I have a truck company, And so I used to be in my truck and I would listen to hours. I could show you. I've listened to hours of Oprah's interviews going on. I told you I took a deep dive. Oprah has always been black first, black woman first. I haven't seen an episode where I felt like she sold out. I haven't seen the episode where I felt like she pandered to white women, white men, white anything. And one thing I love about Oprah, she has never missed an opportunity to bring up racism and injustice on black women and black men to white people.
This exercise. It's an exercise in racism. And my guest, Jane Elliott, started this exercise a long time ago with her third grade class back in 1968 after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. What she's going to do is to demonstrate how easy it is to learn prejudice. The point being that we are taught to hate each other on the basis of the color of our skins. So today's audience was separated into two groups. Not on the color of their skin were they separated when they arrived. They were separated based on the color of their eyes. But they have no idea that they were separated. What we did was treat each group differently, discriminating against the people who have blue eyes, catering to those people with brown eyes. So here's how the blue-eyed people were treated when they arrived at the show.
Come on. What color your eyes? Blue? Over there. Put it on. No. Over there. Blue? Over there.
The blue-eyed people were pulled out of line, told to put on a green collar and wait outside. When the brown-eyed people arrived, they were told to step to the front of the line. Our staff was instructed to be extra polite to brown-eyed people and to discriminate against blue-eyed people, like this one.
I understand that, but actually my license got stolen. And when I went to replace it,
that's not our problem. You always have to have eyes anywhere you go.
Audience members with brown eyes were allowed to enjoy coffee and donuts. Those with blue eyes were left standing in a crowded room without refreshments for over 2 hours. The blue-eyed group became upset when they saw the brown-eyed people were being seated first.
Look at those people went in. What are they doing in there?
A woman with blue eyes was outraged when she realized we had fed the brown-eyed people. After 2 hours of being discriminated against, the blue-eyed group began to revolt.
Need everyone here to shut up, please. Shut up.
So I just want to warn all of you who are watching, you know more than they know in the audience. This show is a very important lesson in racism. It may make you angry, but no matter how angry you get, I encourage you to please don't turn the channel, because the purpose will be revealed before the show is over. The idea is to see how easy it is to be taught to hate. What color eyes do you have? It really doesn't matter, just as it doesn't matter what color skin you have. But I want you to watch as my guest convinces this audience that blue-eyed people are not as smart as brown-eyed people, just as a lot of Americans have been convinced that people of color are not as smart.
So regardless that Oprah had a white audience, she still was speaking for and to black people. Another thing that I appreciate so much about Oprah is that she has interviews with people that we will never hear from ever again because they have passed and gone away. Cicely Tyson.
Did you feel that you needed to respond to them? Did you feel that you didn't?
That wasn't my problem. It was theirs. And I wasn't going to make it mine.
I love you.
I didn't have a problem
I
with
love
that
you
at
for
all.
that. Yeah.
Not at all. Why?
Maya Angelou.
A person says to you, I'm selfish, or I'm mean, or I am unkind.
Or I'm crazy.
Or believe them. They know themselves much better than you do.
Mm-hmm.
But no, more often than not, those of us who don't trust life say, don't say a thing like that. You're not really crazy. You're not really unkind. You're not really mean. And as soon as you say that, the person
Let you know.
and shows you, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
I told you I was unkind. So now why are you angry?
Amazing black legends And even with our celebrities today, the interviews that Oprah do are so in depth and lets you connect with the person and understands the person. It's not about their album. It's not about gossip. It's not about who they're sleeping with. It's not about any of that stuff that people would interview these people about today. It's about them, where they come from. What are they in tune with? How did they become to be? What do they have to, what is the advice that they have for people today? It's so in depth. And when I want to have that or listen to like a grandmother, Black old school grandmother, auntie type of conversation that I can't get from my real life, when I want to hear that vibe, I go back to Oprah's interviews with Maya Angelou and Cicely Tyson. I go listen to them because I feel like I'm sitting around and listening to some very wise grandmothers, aunties. It's just so wholesome. And I advise other Black women to go take a deep dive on Oprah, especially in this time period that we're in right now of evolution. I just think that Black women need to go take a deep dive on Oprah and they will come out with a new appreciation. Women like me appreciate Oprah so much because growing up, I didn't have this very strong relationship with Christianity. So the episode with Deepak Chopra, where they talked about how you can attract things to your life and spirituality. Oh my God, that episode sold me.
Yeah, rest it comfortably. I'll hold it still. Now, just while you're holding that still, mentally have the idea it's moving back and forth. Mentally have the idea that it's moving. Okay? Don't worry, it'll start moving, and it'll start moving wider and wider. See, it's already doing that. Okay? In any direction you want. There you are. Now, once it's doing that, just change the idea in your mind that instead of swinging it like that, it's going to start swinging like this in a different direction.
Oh, my
mentally.
heavens.
See? Now, mentally have the idea that it's going to start making circles. Just mentally have the idea it's going to start making circles. There you are, see? Circles. Now bigger and bigger circles. There you are.
Oh, my heavens.
Okay?
I didn't think I could do it. I was feeling a lot of pressure here.
Okay. Well, listen.
I can't believe it's doing it.
Yeah. And now have the idea that it's going to reverse the circle. So if it's making circles...
no, I don't know if I can do that.
Just have the idea.
Okay.
Just have the idea.
That it's going to reverse the circle.
Yes. Just keep that idea in your mind. You see, your expectancy determines outcome. And as long as you're not attached to the outcome will be guaranteed.
Okay.
Whenever we fulfill a desire, whatever that desire is, certain things happen. Number one, we expect a certain outcome.
Oh, it just switched.
There you are.
It just did it.
See?
I can't.
And this is living proof that every cell in your body is eavesdropping on your internal dialogue. And by changing your internal dialogue, you can influence the chemistry, the
even
fundamental
Sally's impressed.
chemistry.
Sally's saying,
cell.
I didn't think you could do it, but you did. Every cell?
Every cell. How would this happen?
Now, see, now this is amazing, because if you can do this with a string,
right,
it means you can do it with your life.
Yeah, you can do it with anything. You can fulfill any desire in life that you want, because inherent in having the desire is the mechanics for its fulfillment. I don't have the same desires as you because nature gave me those desires.
I think that episode came out in 93, but I watched the reruns later. So I probably was about 7 or 8 when I seen the rerun of that. And I did exactly what they did. I took the little metal with the string and I tried to move it with my head and it worked. I was sold. I was sold from there. And I started to work on my spiritual work. And if it wasn't for me seeing somebody like Oprah, a Black woman like Oprah, doing that, talking about that, interviewing those people, I would have felt like there was something wrong with me, because that's what the Black community was doing at that time. If you weren't into Christianity, or if you weren't worried about being a wife and having babies, they act like it was something wrong with you. To this day, Black women still do that. when we talk about the evolution of Black woman, Oprah needs to be there. Oprah became a billionaire by herself. Oprah challenged social norms from the beginning of her career to now. Oprah did it by herself when the world told her that she could not. And she did it while remaining Black and being Black first. She did it while bringing up racial issues and injustice. She did it while being real. You know, a lot of people also complain about, you know, Oprah being blunt. And I've seen episodes, I've seen things where people say she was hard on Black women. Oprah was blunt with everybody.
Remember, to a certain point.
You do not remember.
I remember.
Because you are accused of battering her with a marble rolling pin.
I know.
And then dragging her body in a comforter and placing it in the car.
I know.
And she then somehow, after being battered with the rolling pin, becomes conscious. And you are accused
I know I am.
and pled guilty.
I did.
Okay. To then hitting her with a rock and then strangling her with the seatbelt.
Yeah. And I'm telling you.
And you're going to now sit here and tell me that you don't remember any of that?
Absolutely not.
I've seen Oprah challenge white women, white men, Black men. Oprah, one thing I can say about taking this deep dive on Oprah, Oprah has been one way and everybody gets the same Oprah. Everybody. So this whole thing that people try to create to have a reason to dislike Oprah, I've debunked it for me. I think that Black people, Black women create issues to not like Oprah because it's hard for them to accept and it's hard for them to understand how a Black woman like her was able to become a billionaire and be who she is today without selling out. I think that Black people have a confidence issue. I think that Black people think that they can't be confidently Black and woman without having to pander or do something obnoxious or do something unethical. Like, you know, and like I said, we can get into conspiracy theories another time, which 9 times out of 10 I won't, because I think everything has a conspiracy. And nobody's closet is clean. But on the surface, Oprah has done nothing but be amazing. And I think that Black women need to get, I believe Black women should give Oprah more flowers while she's alive.
I came to Oprah's charity sale.
I had a charity sale where I sold all my clothes, okay, and shoes.
I didn't have much money because I didn't have a job. And one of the least things, you know, the little bitty price was a pair of black shoes. I wear 7 and she wears another size.
10.
And so I bought the shoes and I really loved them and I kept them in my bedroom. And when I got really, really depressed and I couldn't find anybody to talk to, I took the shoes out and I
stood in my shoes. She would stand in my shoes. To make herself feel better, she would stand in my shoes. And now she says she doesn't have to stand in the shoes as much because she's standing on her own.
That no one's going to really realize what Oprah was trying to do until she passes. When people pass and you realize you're not going to be able to see them anymore, people tend to do research. And by then it'll be too late. So I wanted to do this episode dedicated to Oprah and let her know that I love her. I appreciate her. I've always seen her. And I just wanted to advise other Black women to take a deep dive on Oprah. Take a deep dive and see for yourself. She's always been there. She has interviews with every Black woman that you would ever want to hear from. And the interviews are amazing. They're amazing. And a lot of you honestly have this I'm going to say strange relationship with Oprah, because it's like a generational thing to like stay away from Oprah. You guys, a lot of you guys don't even know Oprah or haven't even took a deep dive on Oprah, but you've already kind of canceled her out in your mind. And it's because no Black women in your family really brought up Oprah, or you just kind of have this avoidance with her because it's like you just automatically assume something's not right. And so you would rather go to the conspiracies and stick with that than to take the deep dive and see who she really is. Because a Black woman billionaire with a Black man, even though she's not married. And that's another thing. Oprah's not even married. So Oprah isn't a super, religious woman. She's not married, and she's a billionaire Black woman who remains Black first, and brings up injustice and racism in front of white people, in front of her white audience, every single chance she gets. And she's not in our homes the same way Jesus Christ is in our homes. Like, come on, Black women. I'm so happy that Black women are on this journey of freeing themselves from social constructs and just breathing and allowing themselves to think for themselves, to create for themselves, to decide for themselves. I'm so happy to see this day, because I wish that my grandmother, my mother, my great grandmother, my great 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 grandmother, I wish they could have been able to do that. I did it because I'm just a challenging person. I challenge things. Like I'm a lot like Oprah. I don't care, and I can't force myself to accept things that my mind and my heart just won't accept. I can't force myself to care about things that I don't care about. I can't force myself to attach myself to things that I'm just not attached to. And I'm not attached to the idea that my life is just about marriage and children. I can't really say that I am a super duper Christian. I can't say that. I won't live a happy life living like that. And the women before me didn't. That's another reason why I started this channel and this content, is because the women before me, I know that they didn't have freedom to be what they wanted to be in life. Society had a strong hold on them about who they should be and how they should show up. And they died holding on to that, and they didn't have to. So sometimes when I find myself speaking like this, it's to help another Black girl or Black woman feel that it's okay, the same way Oprah made me feel. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody else thinks how I think. Someone else has went through some of the things that I've went through. Well, I have so much in common with Oprah. And when I took this deep dive, I realized I have even more in common with Oprah. So I advise, like I said, every Black woman that's going through an evolution period, or do not subscribe to social norms, to take a deep dive on Oprah. You may have more in common with her than you think. Also, I want to add that Oprah is constantly speaking to us, trying to tell our stories, trying to help us. And like I said, Black women cannot see past Black men. Black women can't see past protecting Black men. Black women can't tell their own story without feeling bad for Black men. The color purple, the one in the 80s and the one now, is so important for Black women to watch. It's so important for Black women to watch because it will help you understand the history, the relationship with Black women and Black men, and why we see the statistics that we see when it comes to the relationship between black women and black men. But like I said, black women don't understand that certain conversations are only for them. Black women can't hear messages. John Singleton tries to speak to black women. When he made Baby Boy, John Singleton tried to speak to black people in general, but there's messages in there specifically for black women that black women can't see. Watch Baby Boy, okay? Like the whole introduction of Baby Boy, he was giving you the breakdown on the immature mindset of a young black man and black men in general. Okay? Watch The Color Purple. It breaks down so many different scenarios. I took notes watching that movie. Watch Tyler Perry movies and take your emotions and your need to protect black men out of it. There's a conversation in these movies specifically for you. But you have to be willing to be selfish for a moment to hear the message. I advise black women to take a deep dive on some of these people. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group. I'll put the link at the bottom so you guys can join and we can chat and we can talk. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Thank you for listening. Comment what you think below. Until next time, black women, I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.